Welcome back to another edition of I Have No Clue. All right, today we're going to talk about something real important. Really important. The job you pick for the military. You know, the job you're going to pick when you go into the military. Listen, it's very important because the job you pick could make or break your career depending on what type of person you are and what kind of work you like to do. But it's real easy to figure out. It's really easy to figure out. Okay, you just have to ask yourself a couple of questions and you'll be able to figure out what job you should pick because it's all up to you. So let's start out by saying, do you like dirt? Do you like mud? Do you like wetness? And no, I'm not talking the good wetness. I'm talking like you're soaked wet, that kind of wetness. Do you like dust? Do you like heat? Do you like long hours? Okay, that's group one. Then group two is, no dirt, no dust. You know, not climate control. You kind of shorter hours. Which type of person are you? Because hey, some people like the mud and the dirt and the dust, and they like the grime and all the long hours and all that stuff. And then there's people that are like, that's not for them. That's not for them. There's some people that want to work like, 8-9 hours and be done for the day, and off at the PX or at the MWR or off at the at the gym or whatnot. So as I tell you, there's some of the jobs, man, you are working 24/7 and nobody cares, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter because the jobs are not created equally in the military. I don't care what any recruiter says or what. And this is for the most part, because there's an exception to every rule, okay? There's an exception to every rule. So, anyhow, if you like mud, dirt, dust, wetness, and long hours, you want to pick something like a mechanic like a wheel mechanic or a tank mechanic, or that kind of mechanic. Definitely wheel or tank mechanic equals dirt, mud, dust, extreme heat, wetness, and long hours. I'm telling you, it doesn't end. It does not end. Okay, now a little bit better mechanic, a little bit cleaner, a little bit not as muddy would be like aviation, aircraft, helicopter mechanic. You are not going to work as long, and it's not going to be as dirty, and it's not going to be as dusty because they got to take a little bit more concern and care with like a helicopter versus like a Humvee. A Humvee, you're going to be changing out in the mud, in the rain, out in a field somewhere, a desert somewhere. It doesn't matter. You'll fix it on spot or whatever. But a helicopter, it's going to be a little bit more controlled. More than likely, you're going to be inside a hangar, a makeshift hangar or a regular hangar, and it's going to be, it's got to be clean. You got to really annotate with a helicopter. Everything's got to be annotated. All the nuts have to be wired and all that, and it's every little thing has to be written down. So, and aviation don't work as long either. I don't care what they say or who says what. You can't have a mechanic working on a helicopter that's been working 10, 12 hours. No, they've got to be awake and alert because it's critical that they do the job correct. Where Humvee, you're working, it doesn't matter. Hey, you put the transmission in wrong, well, we'll put another one in a couple of hours or whatever. It doesn't matter. But if you put an engine wrong in a helicopter, you could have consequences. But anyhow, a mechanic is definitely a long dirt, mud and all that. Another job that would be long and hard would be like infantry. Infantry never stops. Scouts. I'm just giving you a couple examples, but then let's say you want something that's clean, real clean, and real kind of shorter hours. Medic, like a medic. Hey, what they're working with doesn't mix with dirt and mud, so they got to be clean and dry. They really do. Now, granted, if combat breaks out, it's a different story, but it's a different story for anything. But like during just regular time, a medic, you're going to be clean, dry, because you're working with medical stuff, and that you can't mix. Syringes and the thing that takes your blood pressure, that can't get dirty. That's got to stay clean and hygienic. So you're going to be clean and hygienic. You got to remember, what are you working with? What are you working with? If you're working with stuff that can get muddy and dirty, you're going to get muddy and dirty. Another thing, a job that's going to be a lot cleaner is a clerk. Clerks go out to the field, but they can't, their paper and their printers and their computers, that stuff can't get dirty. So guess what? They're not going to get dirty. They're going to have a Connex or some kind of deal, like some kind of trailer or something that they're going to be working out of. They're not going to be working in the mud and rain, because you can't have papers and stuff get muddy and rainy. You can't. So they're going to be nice and dry, and they're going to have shorter hours, okay? Because like with a clerk, they kind of have like a set deal. You got a set deal, like, okay, you're working from this time to that time. Mechanic, no. A mechanic, it's not like that. A mechanic works like this. You're going to be working from this time to that time until something breaks. Then when something breaks, get up and get out there and get it fixed, because they got to get back on the mission. See, like a medic, for the most part, they're pretty much going to be on set hours. Like, okay, the call to see the sick call is like from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 or whatever, and then that's it. I'm trying to give you an example. Here, I'll give you a quick example. Okay, so let's say you're a mechanic. And it's time to go to the range. You got to go to the range. So when you go to the range, you can't do your mechanics jobs because you're going to the range, but everyone's going to be working, okay? So the mechanics, they're going to take the extra mechanics and you're going to be out working the range, helping people fire their weapon. You're going to have some of you guys loading magazines. This is kind of grueling work. It's fun, but it's tedious and grueling. But you'll be out on the range, like taking calls from the tower on, when it's time to fire, and you'll have paddles and you'll show them green or red and all this stuff. So you're going to be out there a long time. It's going to be raining, the mud, the whole 9 yards. Now, medics have to go to the range too, right? But guess what? They need medics there to make sure that nobody gets hurt. So the medics have to be on standby. So the medics, they're going to be in Humvee sitting to aid anyone that like falls out, like, needs, heat exhaustion or something like that. But a medic's not going to be loading magazines, and running the range. They're going to be sitting in their Humvee, their dry Humvee, waiting for somebody to fall out. See, I'm giving you kind of examples of the different jobs. I'm truly giving you examples of different jobs, but certain jobs, and talk to your recruiter too. Say, hey, look, either A, I like long hours in the mud and the rain and the dirt, or say, hey, I'm not into working long hours. Which job can I pick to where I'm not working so long? And I tell you, you get into the military, you'll see it. Some people have it kind of cushy, that they're just kind of, they're walking around with a clipboard and a coffee and kicking tires and stuff. And there's some people that are in the mud, wrenching, and it never stops. The day never stops for them. So really, talk to your recruiter about the different jobs. That mechanic, infantry, scout, you're talking mud, dirt, long hours. And then medic, clerk, intelligence and all that stuff, you're talking dry and shorter hours. And I know I'm going to get a ton of like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Well, I seen it firsthand. This is what I seen, okay? This is what I seen. So leave your comments below. Like, dislike, anyhow, until next time, have a good one.